So good afternoon, everyone. So we are starting now. So first of all, thank you for joining this session. So this is hosted by community, UiPath community, and the session is on migration strategies for automation cloud migration, why migrate to cloud automation cloud, and the classic to modern folder migrations. So we speaker are from UiPath support team, and I will just introduce our speakers. So I'm Amit Negi. I'm working as a manager in product support from more than 3 years and have technical expertise on robot studios and Orchestrator. So next we have Chetan Gandhi, who is a senior product support engineer in UiPath, and he's one of the expert in this server side. So when I say server side, it is both installation or handling the complete Orchestrator and automation cloud. Then again, we have Krishna Sinha, who is a senior product support engineer, and he is also working with UiPath more than 3 years. Then we have Murli Krishna. He's a product support engineer, and he is working with more than three. Again, all of us are more than 3 years in UiPath. And then one of the final speaker is Vitrival G, and he is also in at a role of product support engineer, and he has worked more than 2 years in UiPath. So with Krishna, can you take it to the next slide? So I will just take you through agenda for today. So first we will understand the introduction about the orchestrator, how the automation cloud works, and then we will see classic to modern folder migrations and the strategies. Then we will have a short break of 10 minutes to grab some tea and coffee. And then we will understand the migration strategies for automation cloud and why we should migrate to automation cloud. And lastly, we will have orchestrator upgrade, different strategies for upgrading to on-prem orchestrator and what are the best practices. During the session, if you have any queries, you can uh, just note it down or you can post it in your chat window and one of our engineer will help you to answer them, or maybe we'll take it up at the end of the session. I hope it is clear. So with this, I will hand it over to Krishna. So he will take you forward.
Yeah, thanks, Amit.
Thank you.
Yeah, hello everyone. So myself, Krishna Sinha. So basically, I will start with the orchestrator overview first, so that you will get a brief introduction on the orchestrator key functionalities, and then I will proceed with the automation cloud introduction, why we should move to an automation cloud, and what are the values we are going to get after moving to automation cloud. So basically, uh, UiPath Orchestrator is a centralized web-based platform. It's designed to manage and coordinate robots in automative, repetitive business tasks. It is a central hub for managing our automation resources and providing the access to all the users through hierarchical structuring and fine-grained access role level assignments. So Orchestrator also helps to integrate our third-party applications and solutions for utilizing the other functionalities of third-party applications. Its strength lies in its ability to oversee and manage a fleet of the robots effectively. So the key features of this orchestrator, we know about attended and unattended automations. So attended automations, in the orchestrator ensures like it's a centralized management and precise delivery of package versions to robots for real-time execution. And unattended automations are just like we enable for it for immediate execution for the unattended task and optimizing robot uses by distributing workloads efficiently. So unattended execution helps like in executing our all the robots in the service modes. If we talk about the core capabilities of Orchestrator, so basically we have provisioning, where we establishes and maintains the connection between robots and web application. Deployment, we can deploy our right package versions, which are delivered to the appropriate robot for execution when we trigger the bot in attended or unattended automations. Configuration, where we manages and delivers robot environments and configuration settings for processes. Queues, queues facilitates automatic workload distribution among robots. Monitoring, we can track our robot identification data and manage user permissions. Logging, here we collects and indexes logs into SQL database or Elasticsearch. And interconnectivity acts as a central communication hub for third-party solutions and applications. So overall, these are the main capabilities of Orchestrator, which helps us as a business user to automate our daily tasks and get the benefit of our of our product. Moving ahead, so here the product availability. What are the deployment options we have? So basically, we have three deployment options: automation cloud, where we can deploy, we have the orchestrator; automation suite, where we have the self-hosted platform; and standalone installed. So standalone is the on-premise orchestrator installation. So basically, we have this left side, the product, all these features are available. And where these features are available, basically, we can go to automation cloud. We can get all these benefits. There are certain restrictions in automation suite. We can get only the right tick mark is there. We can get those benefits in automation suite platform. And in standalone on-prems, so there we can, obviously we have limited features there. So when we talk about automation cloud, it's the recommended delivery model for most of the scenarios. There are reasons on this. The most products and more features within products, and more cross-product feature integration is available all the time. So we have enterprise grade management with support with 8 regions. So we have different regions where we can deploy our automation clouds as per requirement. Secure multi-tenant and virtually isolated architecture is there, and it's easily available for anyone just by single click. And the latest updates are available every 2 weeks on the automation cloud. So no need to worry about the security and all the other management from the admin task on the automation cloud. So that's the recommended delivery model for most of the scenarios. Automation Suite offers many of the integrated benefits of the automation cloud for self-hosting with annual feature updates. So it's recommended where automation cloud is not viable due to security policy or the compliance regulations. So in that case, automation suite can be deployed in the self-hosted platform. So here we need the advanced IT capabilities in Linux and Kubernetes, because the platform is designed on Kubernetes. And standalone installed product servers such as Orchestrator will continue to be supported and included in our major releases. However, not like all the features and capabilities available in the automation cloud. It's not available on the standalone. So these are the main things we have to consider when we are checking the deployment options and proceeding on the automation cloud. So most of the benefits with up to date we can get on the automation cloud. So moving ahead to the next slide. So here we have the UiPath Automation Cloud architecture. So basically in the UiPath Cloud portal, we can provide the instant sign up, unified access and a centralized group is there, and license management for enterprise and community customers. So there, like as I said, it's a single click access is there. Just you need to sign up with your email ID and work email address and details. You can get access and you can manage as per your requirement, whether it could be enterprise or community uh, access is there. And we have different regions, 8 different regions are there: Europe, United States, and Japan, Australia, Canada, Singapore, India, and UK. If I talk about like all the tenants are available in the cloud as a multi-tenant, a SaaS solution managed centrally by UiPath. So these are available on the multi-tenant environment, which can provide the high availability also. We assure that 99.9% uptime SLA is there. So it's the DR setup completely in multiple regions is deployed. So it's up most of the time. Some of the time, if there is any issue, the status page is there for Automation Cloud, where you will get the notification, and it can be easily visible to all of the customers. So customer can easily configure here the directory connections for their SAML configuration or their SSO, and leverage their enterprise IT policies overall on the Automation Cloud product. And customers can securely connect their robots from on-premise and in the public cloud environments as well. So Organizational internal deployment is there where customers cloud enterprise IDP is there. Either you can deploy in public cloud your robots or studio, and or in the on-premise, and you can connect with the automation cloud through your IT security by providing the IP restrictions and other firewalls restriction is there. So you can easily configure it in the automation cloud, these things. Moving ahead to the next, why we should consider automation cloud. So in automation cloud, we have the automatic upgrades. So that reduces the strain on IT and admin for managing the infrastructure resources. And every 2 weeks, update is there. So schedule update is there. So you will get the latest update all the time and in the automation cloud. So new tools will be easily available there, and you can uh, activate it as per your needs. So there is no hardware and software installation required separately. So it can be done by any business users. There is no much technical requirements is there on that side. And it removes barriers for spending more time on the environment management and uh, just checking on the growth of the your business scenarios. So democratize the automation experience effortlessly. Trials of new products can be easily be performed without requiring installation. So, like as I said, community sign up is there, so you can easily sign up into community section and trial the new products available in the automation cloud instead of installing on-prem separate servers or any physical hardwares. So it maximizes the utilization. Unlimited tenants in the cloud is available for enterprise customers, and provisioning bots only when there is work required to do in the cloud orchestrator robots like elastic bots is there. So you just need to turn it on for that time, and it will create a elastic bot for you, and it will perform your task and just shut down. So it will help you in savings. And also we have automation cloud robots. So UiPath will host the robot VMs, reducing infra needs to zero. So you can easily just turn on those automation cloud robots, and you can connect your machines and robots to Orchestrator. So moving ahead, so what is the value of moving to cloud we are going to get? So as I discussed in the above slides, we are going to get the regular system updates as comparison to standalone self-hosted. It's the like a regular cycle and out of band patching is there. So hardware if required. So this needs to be taken care by the admin. And in the automation cloud, it's performed by UiPath as needed. UiPath updates, it's the like latest version upgrades recommended per product, supported versions required. It needs to be done by the customer end. But in Automation Cloud, every 2 weeks, the upgrade is performed in the rigorous ring-based process. So there is no need to worry on the update side. Compliance testing, obviously on the standalone, you need to perform from your side, all the compliance of the product is fine or not. But here in a cloud, third-party audit and attestations are available. Adding the and scaling up the services are very easy again in the cloud. It's just a single click on the product and add to your service, and it will help you to explore more on the product. But in a standalone, it's not all the time necessary. There are restrictions, and you need the installation and integration of softwares and hardwares whenever it's required. Infrastructure monitoring and optimization, obviously in standalone all the time it's required to be monitored and taken care, but in cloud it's managed by UiPath, so we are assuring 99.9% of SLA uptime guarantees there, and HADR included as a standard practices. User and role management, in the standalone, we can apply definitely, but it's on the product basis, can be integrated with SAML, Azure, and AD supported. Here, we can integrate SAML, Azure, AD, and SSO, other things across all services throughout the cloud. Adding the robot capacity, here we need the virtual hardware, physical virtual hardware, so we can deploy our robots. But in cloud, we have a predefined functionality available where you can just turn it on and get the VM for your robots and serverless VMs, and you can perform your operations there easily. And in product, administration and monitoring is there. So administration is typically required within each product in standalone, but in automation cloud, it's like service and integration reduces per product admin tasks. So it's basically very much helpful when we are moving to cloud. It reduces overall efforts in managing your infrastructure and environment, and you can easily proceed with more exploration towards the new products, whatever the new functionalities and features available there on the cloud. So moving ahead, considerations and nice to knows, like before proceeding to cloud, we should consider these points, and we should be aware about that. First thing is licensing. So we should be aware about the entitlements allow you to like take advantage of the cloud. So we should be aware about the license basically, whether it is a right license for your cloud or not. Basically, we required flex model license for your cloud environment. Robot connection again, it's like we need to test and ensure our robot connectivity is fine before starting the migration activity. So this required the partnership with technology stakeholders to ensure like network and security access is fine, and there is no blockers available when we are moving to cloud, because there are certain URLs needs to be whitelisted when we are going on cloud, so that your robot can work smoothly without any blockers on the package or dependencies. Modern folders with cloud, definitely it only works with modern folders. There is no classic folder available. So before proceeding, we have to make sure all the classic folders are migrated and moved to modern folders. We have tested all the functionality there. Then we should start our movement to cloud. Before that, we need to check all this classic folder are removed properly. And it's already deprecated in April 2023. Logging, again, in cloud, we have robot and audit logs available for 30 days and 2 years respectively. After that, it will be auto archived as per cloud policy. So we have the third party integration available there, so that logs can be migrated, moved into the storage buckets or somewhere else, so that you can later on analyze and see your logs. But in the Orchestrator in the cloud, you can only see for 30 days for your robot logs. After that, it will be auto archived, and this cannot be increased. This is by policy. And cloud currently has no database access due to security restriction. So this access cannot be given to users. This can be only taken care by the UiPath team, backend team, and you can use insights product, so that you can monitor and analyze most of the your ongoing performance of bots in the cloud orchestrator. So overall, this is about like basics on orchestrator and introduction to cloud. And moving ahead, so I am handing over this to my colleague Chetan, so he will take further after this. Yeah, Chetan, you can take further.
Yeah, thank you, Krishna, for giving the brief about the automation cloud. And team, now we are going to be discuss why we need the migration to the modern folders. As Krishna already discussed with your team, that we already depreciated the classic folder from 2020.10 version of Orchestrator. If you all aware that in the previous version, 2019-20 version, we most of the customers are on the classic folders, and even we are supporting this classic folder till 22.10. So the point here is when we are why we need to be do the migration. The first point is because this is getting depreciated now. The second thing, if you're moving to the automation cloud, there is no such functionality of the classic folder. So you need to be moved to the modern folder. Why we have this design change? Because to provide the more strategical changes to your organization whenever they are trying to provide some access, user level access to the to specific folder, to subfolders, to change their complete hierarchical structure. Because in the classic folder you don't have those functionality where you can provide a different level of access to different users or to different department of users. Here in the model folder we have those functionality. The second benefit that we have dynamic allocation of the licenses across multiple robot accounts rather than just considering on the one, because in the classic folder you have one-to-one robot, one machine map. Here it doesn't like that. So these are the basic fundamentals that we are changing from classic folder to modern. And when we are just need to be either moved to the automation cloud or latest version of on standalone on-premises orchestrator, we need to be migrated to the classic folder because it is going to be supported 22.10. Once you you wanna move to 23.10 or the latest version that we released 3 days back, that is 24.10, you cannot upgrade to latest version because there you don't have the functionality to run any process on the classic folder. So now there are few prerequisites that you need to be checked before moving to the modern folder. First one is that you need to have a system.activities version of each and every process greater than 20.10. That is a generic prerequisite that we set for all the processes because in this latest version, in the modern folder, we are changing how mechanism regarding the HTTP request that we are where the studio activity is calling to the orchestrator. So that mechanism is getting changed. That's why we recommend to move to 20 minimum version of system.activities to 20.10. Other than that, the structure will change. It will not going to be impact your most of the processes. Like it will going to be remain same how the automations are running in the classic folder. It's just changing the managing those folders. So now, how can we migrate classic folder to modern? There are two ways to do it. One, we have the inbuilt capability that we said modern migration wizard that is available from 22.10 version of Orchestrator. The other way around is to move to the using the Orchestrator manager. So both is going to have its own benefit, and we will discuss on all the benefit that this migration wizard is having and what benefit we have with the Orchestrator. So let's first discuss with the modern migration wizard. So when we are discussing on modern wizard, so suppose your environment is going to have the 5 or 6 classic folders, and all those migration will you need to be performed in a single instance rather than just considering that you can do by folder. You cannot do it. When we wanna do it all the classic folder at a one go, you can just use this modern migration wizard. Okay. The second dependency it will going to be create, you need to be manually align the attended user licenses and the unattended licenses during the migration wizard. We'll show this particular thing in one of the demo that will clear all your doubts how we need going to be perform this migration activity. The next part it will going to be see. So suppose in the classic folder you're going to be 5 environment. So all the environment will become your subfolder in the modern folder, and each modern folder will in the modern folder each subfolder will consist whatever the process you have in one specific environment, and similar it will align to the queues and assets also for that specific folder and to specific environments. The second part, when we are going to be use the orchestrator manager, it's totally a manual process that you need to be follow, where you first need to be export the data and then re-import into either to the automation cloud. If you're moving from your on-premises to the automation cloud, you can select any one of the tools. Okay, and if you are moving from your on-premise to on-premises from classic to modern, you also can use, but it's you have that leverage where you can move one single folder at a time. You can just export the data for one specific folder in terms of environment, in terms of processes, in terms of robot account. Then you can create a specific folder and you can import all the data there. So we'll discuss on that part also. So these are the basic orchestrator manager tools. What we always suggest to have on the minimum version of 2020.10. Even lower version also going to be supported, but it's good to have on 2020.10 to move, because orchestrator is going to be because modern folders are going to be supported from the 2020.10 version of orchestrator. So that would be the minimum requirement that we can consider. Then the prerequisite, you need to be when you are going to be login with the orchestrator administrator, you need to be the admin of that account. The second, the other point, you need to be create an external application. If you want to be logged in with the credential, it's good. Other way, in the latest version from 22.10, we have one more functionality where we can create an external application to authenticate the application. using the user scope. That is the latest version we have in the market with that what we call OAuth mechanism. So you can create your own confidential application where you just need to provide a user scope with all those permissions that is mentioned here, and the redirect URL you can redirect to the identity of Orchestrator to generate a token. So the UI, it's going to be look like this is going to be the screen that you have. Okay, there once you log in there using the app ID, secret ID, then you need to provide your Orchestrator URL and then mention the tenant name where you want to be authenticate the Orchestrator. Once you log in, then you are going to be come with the fourth point where you are going to be have the different entities. Currently it is selected assets. Similar way, it's going to be 9 to 10 entities like assets, queues, folder, environment, all those entities are there. You just need to be export the data in one of the Excel sheet, and then you can rebuild your own structured modern folder as per your need. You want to be create one single modern folder. Does you want to be create one modern folder? Under that, you need to be create 5 subfolder or one subfolder. It's totally depend on you. On that basis, you can restructure all your modern folder. Once that is done, ideally your environment is going to be up. When we are just discussing about the classic folder, there is one more important point that will going to be coming to picture is regarding the machine templates. Because in classic folder we are supporting the standard one, but we always recommend when we are moving to the modern folder, we recommend to move to the machine template, because in the latest version of 23.10 we are not supporting any standard machine. You cannot create a new standard machine, but you have that functionality still, that if the previous standard machines are there, that's still going to be working in your environment. So we always recommend to move to the machine template in the near future. So team, let me share my screen to present a small demo that will help your team to understand how we can going to perform the migration activity. So are you able to see my screen? Okay. So here is
Yes, Chit.
one of the classic folder that I created. How can you find this is the classic folder? If you move to the tenant, and first of all, sorry to, I didn't mention which orchestrated version I'm on. I'm on 20.10 family, because in this specific version only we have that migration utility present, because in the lower version we don't have that migration utility present. So you need to be on the minimum version of 2020.22.10.5 version. So moving towards to the folder, how can we find? If you go to tenant folder and hover over this particular folder, you will see the classic folder. This is one of the way. The other sign where you can check the color that it is having. It's going to be of the orange color. So that will going to be give a brief about you how to find the classic folder. There is one more way. If you click on this particular folder, this particular adds a folder, this functionality is disabled. You cannot click on that one. But suppose if we are on the modern folder, and let me create one demo one for your team. And if you go to tenant, go to folder, if you hover over this one, you will see it's a demo and it will show you as a modern folder. And when you're going to be click on this demo, this subfolder toggle button is going to be enabled. And if you click on that one, you are able to create a one subfolder. So it will going to be. So as we are discussing about the migration, so let's consider this community the community folder. Under this community folder, in classic folder, we have one-to-one mapping between the machines and robots. So I have created a 6 demo folder, 6 demo accounts, which is consisting of different type of license, like attended automation developer license, attended user, attendees RP developer license, because these are the attended user we have. So we have near about 4 type of attended licenses: RP developer, automation developer, attended licenses, and citizen developer. The other this production and this is going to become under production, and non-production will going to become under the unattended license. Ideally, we depreciated the non-production also. We are coming with the testing license. Okay, that is a certain different topic. We'll cover in later releases. Okay. Regarding this, we have the environment. So what I did, I created a 6 environment where with the similar name. If it is going to be have the attended license, I allocate attended robot account. So that will demonstrate you when we are going to perform this migration activity, how those robots are reallocated in the modern folder. So this is the attended. Similar way, I created an automation developer. I allocated a automation dev robot account. For the non-production, I allocated one non-production robot account. So this is one thing that will give you the complete hierarchy. So if you're moving to the community, you have the 5 processes. And if you click on the processes, you see this attended process is mapped to the attended environment. So now what will happen during the migration? This attended will going to be create a one subfolder. Similar way, automation dev is also going to be create one subfolder. For production also will be a one subfolder. So where you going to find this migration utility? You need to go to tenant, go to settings, and under this general, you will see this start migration, and that is giving this classic folder depreciated. So if you click on this start migration, you will get how many classic folders you have, how many attended licenses you have, how many unattended you have, how many processes, asset queue. As a summary, copy this in one of the notepad. So there, at least you are aware how many classic folder and what are the things you need to be just validate once you migrated to the modern folder. And before moving to the modern folder and using this migration utility capability, you need to be take a DB backup. So if anything happened bad in your environment during the migration, because it's a schema change happening at the backend. So as a best practice, take a DB backup before proceeding with this activity. So once we start this one, so you are going to be see it is showing the attended user. So attended one is the attended robot 1, robot 2. So you need to be manually create a user account for this one, target user account. Because in the modern folder, you know, if we are using the attended licenses, you need to be create a user account. And under the user account, you have that functionality to create either attended licenses or unattended. But for the unattended license type, you need to be create a robot account. So if you see this attended user, if you go into this target user account, it will take you to the manage account center. So there you need to be create a user's account. So ideally, I have created a one user account already. So that is the attended user here, if you see. If I'm just going to be search for the attended user, it will save. So similar way, automation dev. So what I need to be do, I need to be create a one more user for this automation dev. You see, even I didn't create it. If I am just searching, if you click on this assign one, if I'm just trying to search for automation, it's not going to be show me anything. But as soon as I'm going to be create this user account at the identity portal, it will show me. So once I move there, if I'm trying to research this auto, it will just give me this, the new user account that I created. So I just allocating this one. So for a time being, so suppose when you are moving from the classic to modern, so suppose you need only 2 user to be migrated to the modern folder. You don't need this user to be on the modern folder. So I'm just keeping this one. So what actually will happen? It will give me one pop-up that missing target user account, it cannot be migrated to the modern folder because I am not allocating any user account. So I will continue this way. When we are migrating the unattended users, basically there are 2 ways, either to ignore them or either to automatically generate a targeted robot account. So what will happen during the migration? It will automatically create a robot account. How it will create? It will say migrated underscore non-production. Same for production one, it will say migrated underscore production. Or there is one other way around. If you want to be assigned this way, so you can do one thing, you can just click on manage account again. You can create a robot account for this one because these are going to be the unattended one. User account also you can create because user account is having that leverage. You can create n number of user attended license or other the unattended one. So suppose if I'm just creating a production robot account here. So I just need to be search for production here. It will automatically route this robot account to me and it will save this one. So one I allocating this targeting, one I'm just keeping it for automatically generate target robot. Okay. So I'm keeping this next. So if you remember, one attendee robot would not be migrated because we didn't provide any user account to that one. So it will not going to migrate for your end. So once we execute this migration, It will take small amount of time to just perform this migration activity from classic to modern. Once it's going to be completed, then we'll see. You see, the migration activity, this folder community was successfully migrated. So if you go to this orchestrator from here, under this, you see a modern folder is created with migrated community. So if you go to tenant, if you go to folder, if you hover over this migrated community, you see it's a modern folder. Under that one, you are going to find this is going to be the environment. The environment is becoming your subfolders now. So if you click on this attended one, here, so let's go attended. So this attended one is only going to be have one process. You see that attended. Why I created the same naming convention? So it would be easy for your team to track it down. So attended, I keep only attended one. Automation dev, I keep only dev. For non-production, I'm keeping non-production process only. So whatever the processes that you have been mapped to one specific environment, it will automatically migrate you to subfolder, and that process is only going to be shown under that specific subfolder. Same, it will going to be happen for the robot account. So let's see. So if you remember, there is a production one. So what actually did, migrated community underscore production. This robot account automatically be created during the migration. The other robot account that I just showed, it's a non-production one. You see this one. So this is the way you can just do this migration activity. Ideally, if your environment is going to be have more than 2,000 robot accounts, either it's attended or unattended, we never because I also mentioned in the documentation, we always recommend to go with the orchestrator manager rather than going with the inbuilt migration utility. So there is one more thing. When you migrated this from classic to modern, you need ideally it will automatically disable all your robot accounts here, whatever you have after some time. So if it didn't disable this robot account, then you need to disable this classic robot account such that the license can be acquired from the modern folder. These are the few prerequisites you need to be checking.
Chetan,
so this,
are you able to hear us?
Yes, yes.
Krishna, can you confirm you are able to see the orchestrator in the JT screen?
Yes, yes, I can see.
Okay, because I think Shreya has mentioned that she is not able to see the demo.
Are you able to see other people's?
Shreya, you can unmute yourself. You can confirm.
You can check on top. There is two options, Chetan's and Krishna's screen. So there you can choose Chetan's screen.
I think Krishna is not sharing anymore. So I think by default.
Now Krishna is not sharing, but now Chetan is.
Shreya, can you check and confirm?
Yes, it's coming now. Earlier it was switching on to PPT only. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, sorry to disturb, Chetan. You can continue.
No issue. Yeah. So team, really apology, but you can just refer this the recording of this session. That will really help. If you have certain doubt, you can reach out to the UiPath support team, so we can help you out. So this way you can perform this migration. So now the second way around, I'm just not going to give a complete demo because that is going to be very vast. So, but there is an orchestrator manager tool is there. So that is ideally it is going to be supported by us also, but it's present on this marketplace. So this, so what happens? So suppose what we need to be create for this one, first we need to be create an external application. So if you go to manage and access here, and just go to the external application, you can create one specific application, confidential application, having this app ID with by generating this secret, having user scope, and you can mention this identity management callback URL. So that for the authentication purpose, it will redirect to the orchestrator URL. So once you run this particular orchestrator manager tool, basically it's the API based tool, completely API request is going to be transitioned. That will first get the request, get the detail from the different folder, either it's a classic or modern, whichever folder you want to be export the data, you can, and then re-import into the orchestrator. So let's try to see how actually it is done. Just running this tool. So I already copied this app ID here. Okay, there is one more thing I just forget to tell. So when you are just switching from classic to modern, there is one setting automatically will be changed. That is when you move to the setting and go to the robot security. That robot security will always automatically move to the interactive sign. Because modern folder, we always recommend to go with the interactive signing rather than the hybrid. It's on your choice that you want to be go with the hybrid or interactive. But ideally, if you are moving with the hybrid one, so you need to be manually select this attended robot user authentication as a hybrid, so that it in the assistant it will show you as connected and licensed. So app ID I already have, so I'm just pasting this one. So secret is going to be this I have generated. Then I'm providing this orchestrator URL. Tenant name will become default. And below you need to be select this use auth. This is the latest version of our orchestrator manager we have. You can find the version is this one, 2.6.2. That is the latest version. So once we just try to authenticate, it will automatically authenticate this because it's just generating a token by sending using the OAuth mechanism. So these are the different entities we have to get the detail from the one specific folder, like assets, user, machines, robot, environment. So suppose if you try to select this, because first we need to be, most probably, you need to get the environment detail, that how many processes or how many robot accounts are mapped to this particular environment. So if you go to open workbook, so this will open this one. So once you get this thing now, so it will going to be show, this is previously hidden. I will try to redo this one. So if I'm trying to execute this one, it just empty this Excel file. Then it is just asking me from which specific folder you want to be get the detail. So I just want to be select this community because community is still a classic folder for me. So if I'm just click OK, so what actually it will do, how many environment I have, it will give me this environment detail. So now, as I mentioned earlier, you have the leverage. If you want to be restructure your classic folder, when you are just moving to the modern folder, you want to be keep the same number of environment. If you want to same, you can create a subfolder. If you don't want to be create multiple subfolder, you can create, you know, this particular robot account are present in the attended environment. This dev robot is present in the dev environment. So you can restructure that as per your need. Similar way, when you want to be create this, because here you don't need to be create an environment because modern folder doesn't support it. So similar way, once you get this detail, you know how much modern folder you need or what structure you need. Then the other way around is to get the robot account. So if I'm selecting this one, open the workbook for the robot, then I'm just executing this one. So once I okay. Maybe robots are disabled, that's why it is not able to get it. 1 minute. So it will give me just which folder I need to be community. So even it will give you the brief about what action item it is performing. Right now, entity robot operation get. So it is performing, it is taking some time. Let's wait for some time. So you see, it is just giving all the robot details, what actually it is having in the community. So now you have that robot detail. So similar way, there is a put action is also there, create action. So basically at the backend, it's a put action of the API. So whatever the structure you want to be create in one specific folder. So suppose robot name you want to be keep test and the machine name is orchestrator one. The machine also need to be present. There is a machine template is also there. First you need to be create a machine, even if you want to map this one, because this will going to be create what kind of robot type you are creating, attended, unattended, and how you want to be create. This will going to be create a classic folder only. It will not going to be create a modern. So if you want to be create a modern folder, you need to be, because it's, you see, it's mentioned as a classic folder name. So if you are moving into the modern folder, you need to be create a users. So when you are going to be click open workbook for the user section. So suppose I'm mentioning this as a username. then it will give you the two options to create, either a robot account or either a user account. So you can select any robot account or not. So once I just mentioned the name of mine, I mentioned this allow web login for this user, and then true, and giving the domain username of this account. Okay, so basically we just need to be execute this create one and just execute this one. So if you see, it just give me the created, but few settings are invalid because I didn't mention any setting. So if I'm going into the automation cloud right now, sorry, to the orchestrator instance, if you go into the manage and access, I created this Chetan. This is my robot account created. Same way, you can create multiple entities as per your need. You can create queues you don't need to be created. Reason being, queues you can map using the manage link property. So we have that functionality also to link and unlink the queues asset among multiple classic or modern folder. So if you go into this, so suppose this is the community folder, I have the queue. So why I just need to be recreate a queue? So you can just go into this one. You can go to manage link or whichever specific folder or subfolder you want to be allocate this particular queue, you can see. So suppose if I am allocating only to this three folder, non-production, RPDF, and production, just need to be update this one. Continue. So if you move to the migrated community and if you want to be go to non-production and go to queue, you are able to see this particular queue. But for me, you are not able to see this community. Same for the automation dev also, you are not able to because we deallocated this queue from those specific subfolders. So for assets queues, you can just use this functionality. There is one more thing I just want to be considering because as a business justification, because customer will going to be say that we need the robot logs, we need the queue transaction item. Queue you can link unlink here without any issue, and the transaction item will remain intact. But when we are just discussing about the robot logs, it cannot be migrated when we are doing the classic robot migration, either through the inbuilt utility we have or either through the orchestrator. So we need to be consider those points. And this is all about how we need to be perform this classic to folder migration from classic to modern. Even similar way, you can just use this orchestrator manager tool to move the data from your on-premises folder structure to the automation cloud. So the same brief description are going to be delivered by the Mulli in the next few minutes. So if you have any question, team, just put in the chat. We will assist you on that. Yeah, Amit, you can take it.
Just one more information I want to add here. So this Orchestrator Manager tool is something made by UiPath professional service team. So everyone knows like within the organization we have multiple teams, right? So we are from product support team. So any queries you raise or any concern, any issue you are facing, generally you raise a ticket with support UiPath, right? So that comes to our team. So all these speakers here are from the support team. So yeah, you might have interacted in the past or maybe for your current ongoing issues. For server side cases. So yeah, on the same ground, the orchestra manager is something built by a professional service team. So if you want any modification in this tool, so which is not possible as of now, yeah, but if you are facing some issue, we will try as our best to solve those issues for you. Yeah, that's all. Thank you. So Chetan, who is next? Murli, right?
Yeah, Mulli is next, but let's wait for 10 minutes. And
Okay.
yeah, then we'll start with the cloud migration.
Yeah, yeah. So we are having a break of 10 minutes. So yeah, you can come back after 10 minutes. You can go and grab some tea or snacks. I will just start a timer. Or maybe Krishna, you are sharing, right? Or Chetan. You can just open
Yes.
a timer in the Google.
Okay, okay, let me open it. Wait, not that time.
So hi team, welcome back. So we are covering the next topic on migration to automation cloud. So basically, most of our customers in this today's time, they want to migrate to cloud because they don't want to manage any of the data on their own infrastructure, or they don't want to uh, do the upgradation plans, and they always want to be always updated on the latest updates. So for this, most of our customers, and from the WiiPath perspective as well, we recommend our customers to be on automation cloud rather than standalone infrastructure. So what are all migration strategies? So why do we need cloud migration? Let's say, for suppose, customer has a lot of data which they could have built up a lot of years back on the on-premises environment. They don't want to lose that data, and they want to migrate to automation cloud. So they want that data to be available in the cloud as well. In those scenarios, customer came up with this queries to UiPath. So we developed our in-house strategies uh, to migrate the data from on-premises to automation cloud. So we have different strategies covering here, and we'll try to demonstrate you all those strategies. So coming to best practices. Yeah. So there are different practices, like different migration plans. Like as Chetan has explained, one of the migration plan in his previous session with Orchestrator Manager, which is nothing but incremental approach. In the similar way, we have one more approach called lift and shift approach. So there are different strategies, but customer has to decide based on their requirement which strategy they want to do. And one more thing is they have to involve their IT and security before moving to cloud, because customers might have different security policies or different AD integrations or SSO integrations. So they have to make sure everything available and everything mapped with their security policies. And also, customer has to be prepared with a rollback plan. Let's say, for suppose, during the migration, if anything happens, if customer wants to migrate their data back and they don't, they want to roll back the data to previous snapshot, if they can take the database backups or frequent backups, they can revert their plan immediately if something goes wrong between the migration, as well as if the migration completes, even though we recommend our customers to keep the backup of their old database or old data to be available for a few days until their migration is successfully completed and they test all their processes. So this is one of the strategy we recommend to our customers. And one more thing is we always recommend to maintain or to do the migration in test environments. So before doing directly on production, because we already we've been providing the enterprise trials and also trial accounts to a few customers to test this migration process before they are going into production. So that is one best practice. And for automation cloud, as you all know that there is no classic folders because those are depreciated in the last April. So there is only a modern folder structure available in automation cloud. So let's say if suppose customer has to migrate to migrate to automation cloud, they only need to convert all their on-premises to modern folder before doing their migration to automation cloud. And next one. So Orchestrator Manager, as Chetan has covered, that is a marketplace tool which is flexible and can be used at any time. Because we have in-house tool called Cloud Migration Tool, which is like a lift and shift approach. But Orchestrator Manager is like based on entities. It can move flexibly from whenever you want, like whenever you want to change or migrate some entity. And when it comes to automation cloud, you need to make sure that all your robots and studio have to be aligned with the latest versions. Because in on-premises, you might have different uh, support strategies or different path to career to support the orchestrator and studio versions. But in cloud, we recommend our customers to always be available on the latest versions of robot and studio, because cloud gets updated frequently, and so that is the reason. So we, and again, we, since as I explained, since the cloud gets updated frequently for every 2 weeks, and we push the updates or bug fixes fastly compared to our on-premises, we always recommend our customers to subscribe to our release notes and our status updates. So coming to the flows of migration, as I explained, there are two types of flows. One is lift and shift. One is called incremental migration. So lift and shift, we can see that cloud migration tool. So cloud migration tool is nothing but an in-house tool which was developed by UiPath itself, by UiPath product team. While as Orchestrator Manager, as Chetan has explained, it's a marketplace tool, although developed by UiPath Professional Services. But the support we have is both community and as well as UiPath support, but not fully covered by the UiPath support. And if you extend that complexity and flexibility to Orchestrator Manager with respect to code edits, this is nothing but if suppose any of the customer wants to change this Orchestrator Manager code, and if they wanted to add few more components, they can change and they can edit and they can do the changes and they can do the migration, whatever they want using APIs, because all the tools are dependent upon the API calls. So even the cloud migration tool or Orchestrator Manager, everything depends upon the API call. So if you can come up with a plan or can replicate the scenarios with API, we can integrate into the code and you can define your own migration plan. So compared to all these three migration plans, if you see here, cloud migration tool will have a robust mechanism. It will be a simple approach where you will keep where you will pull all the data at a time and you will push all the data at a time. So there will be no entity to entity approach. While as Orchestrator Manager will be an entity to entity approach, which will make more complex, but it will make more flexibility as well. So as you go incremental migration, the complexity increases and flexibility also increases. So coming to cloud migration tools, lift and shift migration approach. If you see here, there is a self-hosted tenant, which is nothing but our on-premises orchestrator environment. So basically, the tool, what it will do is it will try to export the data at a time from the whole tenant instead of folder or instead of entity level. And it will keep the data in the local server. So once the data is exported and successful, after complete migration of exporting the data, then we'll connect to the automation cloud using the same tool. So we'll push the data, whatever we collected, at the same time to automation cloud. Irrespective of folders, it will push all the data tenant-wise at a time in a single push. So that is the strategy. If suppose if customer have multiple tenants, they have to repeat this process. They have to do a tenant basis. Let's say they have completed the default tenant and they have imported the default tenant to automation cloud. They have to create one more tenant in the automation cloud and they have to repeat the approach. There are certain conditions that there are some certain parameters or entities which might fail the migration, which you need to do manually after completing the successful migrating entities. So that is one lift and shift migration. And coming to Orchestrator Manager, as Chetan has explained and gave an overview of the tool as well. If you see here, here also we have the self-hosted tenant, which is nothing but on-premises orchestrator environment. So since we are extracting the entities here, not the tenant directly or not the data directly of whole tenant, so the orchestrator manager will request the self-hosted tenant what entities it requires. So let's say, as Chetan has shown, if it wants queue data or if it wants folder data, it will pull the data only based upon the request from the orchestrator manager. So once it is pulled, it will also save same like cloud migration tool in the local server. So if you see here, there is a mapping plan and incremental migration and non-folder specific reorganization, which is nothing but if suppose a customer is in classic folder in the on-premises environment and they wanted to migrate to automation cloud. Since automation cloud or isn't supported for the classic folder, it only supports for the migration for the modern folders. And the first tool called cloud migration will not at all support this scenario. What Orchestrator Manager helps here is you can map the data, whatever you extracted from the self-hosted tenant, and you can map that data in the import Excel sheets, and you can push that data to automation cloud as a modern folders. Let's say you have extracted the queues from the classic folders from the on-premises environment. You'll copy the data and you'll post that data to the next Excel sheet, which is trying to import to the automation cloud, and it will pull the data to the specific folder wherever you have mentioned. So you can change that flexibility in the orchestrator manager. If you want to go from cloud on-premises classic to on-premise cloud modern folders or any other migrations as well. That flexibility will be missed out in the cloud migration. So yeah. So coming to the next slide. So tool selection. So tool selection differs based upon our requirement. There are two types, which is called incremental migration and lift shift. For incremental migration, we always suggest to use Orchestrator Manager, and lift and shift is nothing but cloud migration tool by UiPath. For folder migration, as Chetan has demonstrated, we always recommend to use Orchestrator Manager because cloud migration tool cannot migrate the data individually by folders. It will only migrate the data by tenants. And that too, it can only migrate the data from standalone to standalone to automation cloud by tenant basis, not by the folder basis. So we do not recommend for the folder migration since it is not specific to the folder. And coming to reorganization, why reorganization is required? Like reorganization, there are certain scenarios like I explained. Uh, uh, the customer wants to customize their plan. Like they don't want to migrate their folders to modern in the on-premises, but they want to migrate to the cloud. In that cases, a reorganization can be customized with the entities as explained in my previous slide with the orchestrator manager. But with the cloud migration tool, whatever the data which is present in the present on-premises environment will be lifted as a data at a time, and it will be migrated at a time. So reorganization cannot be customized with the cloud migration tool. Support orchestrator versions for orchestrator manager will be greater than 18.4, and for cloud migration tool, it is 19.10. So coming to next slide. So entities, which I explained, in the orchestrator manager or cloud migration tool, entities are nothing but our the usages which we use in the orchestrator, like packages, libraries, folders, settings, or queues of transactions, assets, everything. So with the two strategies, there are some differences in migration of entities. So with both the cloud migration tool and orchestrator manager, we can only migrate certain type of data, but we cannot migrate certain type of data. If you see here, for both cloud migration tool and orchestrator manager, we can migrate packages, libraries, machines, folders, environments, robots, processes, queues, triggers, and assets. So this can be done both to folder migration in on-premises to on-premises or cloud migration from on-premises to cloud. And coming to cloud migration tool, it respective of orchestrator manager, it can also do settings and calendars as well. While as orchestrator manager can also do role assignments and queue items, which cloud migration tool cannot do. Coming to manual migration, which is nothing but the manually we are migrating the accounts or packages. We can cover all this data, personal workspaces, packages in the folders, rules. These has to be aligned after the migration. If there is any failure in the migration of roles or action catalogs, webhooks, or test entities, these has to be manually migrated. Logs are historical data. Let's say for suppose there is a customer, they might have logs from last 5 years in their database, and they wanted to migrate to the automation cloud. They can migrate the other entities, but they cannot migrate the queues or transactions or the job historic data or the logs of the historic data. They can only migrate static entities like robots, machines, or folders or queues, but not the queue transactions. But in certain scenarios, like new transactions can be migrated. And there is one more thing. So if suppose most of our customers face issues with this scenario, let's say for suppose if we are migrating the robots from on-premises to cloud, there is one thing which you need to make sure is in cloud, we use invitation-based model to invite the users to the automation cloud based upon email address. But in on-premises, robot can be created without email address or with email address as well. So the robot can be migrated with the automation cloud migration tool only if the email matches between the on-premises and cloud migration. Otherwise, it will fail in multiple. So that is one thing which we have to our customers. Going to next slide. So before moving to cloud, there are certain prerequisites before doing the post-migration robot access to the robot automation cloud. But like for certain customers, there might be industry-specific compliances and data residencies, which is nothing but when they're creating the tenants, they want region-specific tenants. They want to migrate only in specific region. Those are all prerequisites customer has to take care of before moving to the cloud. And classic folds. So one more prerequisite is, as I explained, for automation cloud, we don't have any modern folders anymore. So customer has to ensure that all their classic folders has to be converted to modern folders before doing this migration process. And if any customer needs a technical expertise, they can raise a support case with UiPath, for example. We can help you out. What are the, like, coming to the differences? What is the difference between like self-hosted and automation cloud is? If you see here, in automation cloud, we use OAuth 2.0 and API keys for the API access. While as in self-hosted, we also have basic authentication along with OAuth 2.0, which is latest authentication we are using. And package feeds. If you see the package feeds, for automation cloud, we have only tenant level library feed. While as self-hosted, which is nothing but on-premises, we have both at tenant and host level library feed. Password complexity can be managed by UiPath and by a third-party IDP providers. So IDP providers is nothing but identity providers. Some of the customers want to integrate external identity providers like Azure SSO or Okta authentication. In that case, they can integrate their own password complexities from their identity provider itself instead of defining the rules in the automation cloud. While as in self-hosted on-premises environment, customer can manage their password complexity, and this can be, and here also they can integrate the external identity providers. Custom credential stores. Yeah. When it comes to credential stores, UiPath managed credential store integration will also be in the automation cloud, and they can also integrate the external credential stores as well. Same like in on-premises, you can use UiPath one as well as the external built credential stores like Azure Key Vault or CyberArk credential stores. Going on with the next one. Yeah. So we have two migration approaches, which is one is lift and shift, one is incremental migration. So lift and shift is nothing but which is used with cloud migration tool, while as incremental migration is nothing but which we use with the orchestrator manager. So what are the differences and what are the advantages we get, or what are the best options we get in both the approaches is like coming to lift shift. This approach involves moving of one environment, existing environment with minimal modifications. So in the on-premises, we don't do any changes while doing the migration or before the migration. It will only pull the data at a time and it will push the data at a time. So in between the transfer, we don't change any data. So which is nothing but lift and shifting the lifting the data and shifting the data to the automation cloud. So this approach is best suited for well-established and stable environments. So if the customer has a stable environment where they don't want to change any data or they don't want to put anything in between, they can do this stable approach, lift and shift approach. And it is also easy quick and copy paste approach, which compared to the orchestrator manager in incremental migration, uh, we have to do so many changes in between to migrate from one folder to other folder or one tenant to other tenant. But here it is not the same thing. It will be a one shot approach, which will be quick and copy paste. And as I explained, system doesn't need any significant changes. There are no changes required in between. It will be a single shot approach. And this is only suited for the customers who are already on migrate modern folders in their on-premises environment, because this lift and shift with cloud migration will not support classic folders. So customer has to definitely migrate to modern folders before selecting this approach to migrate to their automation cloud. So coming to incremental migration, so which is nothing but Krishna, can you go back? Yeah, sorry for that. So this approach explains the orchestrator manager approach, which is nothing but an agile method where you are enabling and gradually updating the entities in a process stage or in a gradual stage instead of going in a single shot approach. So you can have a control over all the entities, all the migration activities you are doing in this approach. So you can define your own strategies. You can define your own entity approaches while doing this incremental migration. And this is suited for when customer is on classic folder and on-premises environment, and they wanted to go to modern folder. This is best suited for that migration process, because since UiPath Cloud Migration Tool doesn't support this approach, we can get the classic data and we can change the data to modern folder entities, and we can shift the data to modern folders in the automation tool. And since it is a step-by-step migration, customers will have clarity and control on what they are doing instead of doing all the data at a time. So gradual transition to cloud at its own pace. So since I explained, customers will have their own clarity and control, and this will have a gradual transition. Like entities can be migrated not at a time. Like let's say customer is migrating queues, he can only migrate at a time queues, not all the data. So he will have a clear understanding what he is doing instead of doing bulk data at a time. And if suppose in customer environment, if there are multiple tenants and they want to restructure the data from on-premises to cloud, that can also be done with the orchestrator manager incremental migration approach. So going for our next slide. So as I explained, cloud migration tool is an in-house tool which is developed by UiPath product team. In this tool, we can connect to our standalone orchestrator, either automation suite or standalone orchestrator, or from automation cloud as well. And we can export the data from all these three platforms, and we can import to again three platforms, either standalone, automation suite, or cloud. So similarly, vice versa, we can do the data for the import as well. We can import the data from standalone to standalone, or standalone to automation suite, or standalone to automation cloud as well. So it imports the entities packages into automation cloud from a provided export file. So there are local files which gets downloaded when you do the export process. Similarly, that local files will be used during the migration for importing the data again into the cloud. So again, we are giving logs as well. Let's say for suppose, since it's a bulk data approach, customers might not know what data is migrated and what is not migrated. So we are giving a summary of the data after the migration as well, which will ensure that customers will know what is exactly migrated, what they have to do manual migration. And we are also providing the logs. If suppose there is some entity which is failed to migrate, in that scenario, customers can easily see the logs, what exactly went wrong during the migration process. So this is cloud migration tool. So going with the next one, which is orchestrator management. As Chetan has already covered this process, I'll try to explain you the flow, how it works. So it's completely developed in the UiPath code. So when you see the initialization stage in the orchestrator manager, we'll have the config file, which will read the data, configuration data. And once the code is done, it will go for the authentication, which will nothing but which will ask you the token credentials, like client ID or credentials. And once the token is authenticated, it will take you to the control panel, which is nothing but where you select the entities, like queues or folders, where you wanted to get the queues or post the queues. So once the data is selected, or entity is selected, or operation is selected, so once the operation is selected, the entity manager is responsible for reading or writing the data to entity workbook. And the whole operation is done in a cyclic manner. So let's say if you complete the queue data export at a time, it will ask you again to the control panel, and you need to select the next one again. And if the token expires, it will go to the authentication process. And the whole thing will be controlled by the orchestrator KPI one. So this is how the orchestrator manager works when it comes to the cloud migration approach. So now that I'll try to demonstrate you the cloud migration approach in a real-time scenario. So let me share my screen. So hope you can see my screen. Krishna, can you confirm if my screen is visible?
Yes, yes, Murli.
Yeah, thanks for the confirm. So if you see here, I have two environments, which is one is my orchestrator on-premises environment, which is orchestrator.local, which is hosted on the same server in my own local hosted server, while the other one is automation cloud, where customer wants to migrate. Let's say customer is on-premises environment. They have folders called shared and demo folders. And in these folders, they have multiple data. If you go to shared folder, they have 5 processes here. So if customer wants to go with the orchestrator manager approach, they have to go by entities. Let's say customer will go to the orchestrator manager and they'll select the package and they'll export the package. Again, they have to select the import procedure and they have to select the folder and the Excel file and they have to do the import. But in the cloud migration tool, if you see all, we have 5 processes here, which can be migrated at a time. There is no need of doing any changes in between. Similarly, we have some queues here as well. And in similarly, we have assets as well in that demo folder. So now that these complete folders are hosted in one tenant called default tenant. For suppose this is an example. So this is the default tenant where I wanted to migrate complete data from on-premises to automation cloud. So if you wanted to go lift and shift approach, the only option is we have is Orchestrator Cloud Migration tool, which is nothing but in-house tool. So I'll show you the tool. So this is the tool for automation cloud migration, and this can be available on our automation cloud official docs website. So from there you can download and you can replicate on your. So once, if you see here, there is one folder approach here for the logs, where you can see the log data, which I have explained. And if you go to second folder, migration assets, you see all the data which is exported and what are library fields, package fields, and processes. In similar way, if there are any queues, that data will also get saved in the data.json file. So coming to the tool, so let's say I'll open this tool. So this is how it looks, UiPath migration tool. This is completely developed in-house tool by UiPath itself from the product team. And we have multi-language support for this tool. So customers can select any language which is mentioned here, and they can do their own migration. Okay. So now that I'm doing an example of migrating my on-premises default tenant to cloud default tenant. So if you see here, there are 2 steps. The first step is export the environment. In export, you see on-premises MSI, which is nothing but standalone. And again, automation suite, which is nothing but hosted on Kubernetes. And again, automation cloud. So what what I was trying to say is you can export the data from any deployment and you can import the data to any deployment. So the vice versa, like you can export the data to public cloud or automation suite or another standalone as well. Similarly, from automation suite to public cloud or automation suite and cloud to cloud as well. So this can be supported. So in this example, we are covering on-premises to automation cloud. So let's say I'm clicking this on-premises, which is nothing but standalone environment. So firstly, it will ask you the orchestrator URL, which is nothing but base URL of this. And my tenant name is default. And since this supports basic authentication, we can give the local credentials itself. So I am giving my local credentials here. So once I click on start export, it will try to grab the data from my local server, my local on-premises orchestrator. So this the time of exporting data depends upon the data you have in that orchestrator. So if you have less data, it will be completed within few minutes. And if you have large data, it will take few minutes to few hours as well. So now that it is exporting that data from my local orchestrator. Yeah. If you see, it will show the report summary as well. What are all data is exported. If you see here, there are total 561 entities which are selected for exporting. From that, there are 12 packages, 512 libraries, and folders, machines, and robots as well. Similarly, you can see what are all data which is exported from your on-premises environment. And even if you go to logs folder here, we can very well see what are all the data which is migrated now. You see, this is the latest file, and it will have all the data and the logs. If suppose if there is any error and with any folder or with the robot, it will clearly show you here, so that you can go with the manual approach to migrate those assets or entities. Similarly, we'll get an export file as well. If you click on open file here, you can get an export file as well. What are all data which is migrated and how many are there success in that and how many are failed here. So in this example, if you see here, there are 561 items which are successfully exported and 0 are failed. And these are the entities which are migrated. Packages, libraries, and machines, and model robots, everything. So, and again, it will highlight you what are all the warnings and errors which you need to take care of after the migration process manually. And it will highlight you the error, why it is not migrated. Based on that, you can do your own approach. So now that we have the data exported locally to our orchestrator server. So we need to import this data to automation cloud. So now I'll click on the home cloud. Now, if you go to the step 2, we have an import option here. So I'll select the environment as automation cloud since we are exporting to automation cloud. So it will ask you the organization URL. So if you go here, you can see the organization URL here. So you can copy that and paste it there. And it will ask you the application ID, which is nothing but the external application which Chetan has showed you in the previous session. So which will give you the client ID. So I have my own application client ID. and my tenant name is default tenant, where I wanted to migrate my standalone data. So now that I have given the orchestrator URL, application ID, and tenant name. So I'm not defining any folder or any entities here. I'm just defining the tenant. So when I click on start import, it will try to authenticate with that using that OAuth2 authentication with that client ID. So once it is successfully authenticated, it will show you this success message. And if you see here, it starts importing the data to your automation cloud organization from your local. Yeah, if you see that, so there are 561 entities which are attempted for the import, but 16 are imported, but 544 are not imported. So if you see the view report here, you'll have the clear understanding of what are all the details which are entities of which are migrated, what are all not migrated. So coming to why they are not migrated, you see here, there are certain errors here. So since I have already attempted my migration process previously on this particular organization, and the packages are already present, it will show that package already exists. That is why it is not able to migrate. So when I go here and refresh my automation cloud, I can see that folders, what are all there in my on-premises, which are migrated to automation cloud. In the same structure, you see here, we have shared demo, and we have under the demo subfolder. In the similar way, we can see the same structure here. Parent folder as demo and subfolder as demo as well. So what are all queues which are responsible in the migration are also gets migrated, like processes, queues from the automation, from the on-premises to cloud. Similarly, assets can also be migrated. And if you go to shared folder as well, you can see the 5 processes which are there in the on-premises got automatically migrated to automation cloud. So customer no need to worry about each and every entity. They can all migrate at a time in a lift and shift approach. So this is how you can use automation cloud migration tool to easily lift the data from on-premises environment and push that data at a time to automation cloud in a easiest approach. So that concludes my topic on automation cloud migration. So next I'll hand over to my colleague Vetrivel to cover on-premises upgrade. Over to you, Vit. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Murali. Yeah. I'm Vetrivel. I'm just covering the orchestrator upgrade on premise. So why we need the orchestrator upgrade? So every product we have certain life cycle. So we need to maintain. And suppose in the product we have the any features, we need to look for the upgrade. Okay. So for that we are planning to upgrade that on-prem orchestrator. So we have the flavor called MSI. You can download from the customer portal and you can directly upgrade the orchestrator. So there are the three categories. So there are the three options we can upgrade the orchestrator. One is direct upgrade the version, and one is the intermediate upgrade. You can upgrade to the intermediate target version, and you can plan for next upgrade version. Then there is a recommended intermediate version. So this is a table. So whether we can upgrade from which version to which version, it is mentioned in this slide. So you can always refer that official document, product lifecycle and the end of support. You can plan for upgrade accordingly. Next slide. So on-prem upgrade method, we have the two method. So in-place approach and the parallel approach. So in-place approach, you can upgrade your current environment. Is already existing hardware, the orchestrator get installed. And the parallel approach, you can buy the new hardware and you can go for the fresh installation. So before going to the upgrade, you can try test it any one of the lower environment and then dev and test, and you can plan for the production. You can go to the next slide. So we need to consider the few things in that place of the parallel approach and the in-place approach. So the infrastructure hardware in the place of in-place approach, we not require any hardware. In parallel approach, we need some hardware required, we need to purchase. And the upgrade duration in the in-place approach, so the quicker implemented than the parallel, because the setup already it is available in our on-prem orchestrator. We are just downloading the MSA. We are just implementing, we are upgrading that existing environment. In that parallel approach, we need to fresh installation. So we need to plan for the installation for the new environment and the time to migration of the data packages, etc. from old to new environment. Suppose if you are planning to moving that your existing environment to new environment, that time we need to move your packages and data into the new environment. So the rollback effort and production impact. So in that longer production downtime due to the rollback installation of existing hardware, so we need some the downtime to upgrade the orchestrator. In that parallel approach, it is a shorter downtime, so there it is a quickly we can upgrade the environment. And the risk and the SLA adherence, when we can upgrade it the in-place approach, we need some approval from the business stakeholder to approve that upgrade, and we can plan for accordingly. We need some business interruption. And in that parallel approach, we no need to that business approval and the business interruption because it is a fresh installation. So the maintenance windows compared to the two approaches, the in-place approach we need 2 to 8 hours. So this is approximately only, but we can cover it at 2 to 3 hours itself. And the parallel approach, in minute we can upgrade. There is a less number of maintenance window. So the key benefit of the in-place approach. So there is no additional infrastructure cost, the low effort, quicker, and but it is require fewer hour maintenance window in production. So in that parallel approach, we need a minimal production downtime. So we can something the upgrade date is failed, we can easily roll back easily. And these are the best practice for the expertise. So when you are going to that upgrade of the on-prem orchestrator, we need to follow the certain criteria. Then we need to follow the certain rules. So first things we need to check the prerequisite of the orchestrator. So ensure all the prerequisites in place of the orchestrator, and just refer the hardware and the software requirement before planning to upgrade or before installing that orchestrator. And you can always just run that platform configuration tool and check entities and verify that is there any error or the orchestrator is healthy, installation happened or not in your existing environment itself. Then come to the compatibility metrics. So we need to refer that the compatibility metrics of the robot. You can always make the equivalent version of the robot version. For example, you are planning to update the orchestrator 22.10 to 23.10. Then if your robot version have the 22.10, then you can simultaneously you can update the robot as well, uh, equivalent version of the orchestrator. So maintaining the compatibility metrics, you need to make sure your robot and orchestrator should be the same version. So then test upgrade. So you need to before performing that any upgrade in the production. So we recommended to perform that upgrade in the lower environment, and you can make sure everything functioning. Then you can go for the production. So in the license validation, if you are using the 20.10, so in the older version, and so if you are planning to upgrade 21.10, so we are having that the flex model of the license type, so that you need to just cross-verify with the sales representative or TAM. You can get more detail about what is the changes in the licensing model. So considering the database maintenance, so you need to take the proper backup. Suppose you are running the orchestrator longer days or longer year. So there is a huge data size in your table. So you need to do the database maintenance every month or twice. The periodically you can do the maintenance and you can reduce the row count to better performance of the orchestrator upgrade. Then you can just take the backup of your database before upgrade the activity. So the classic to modern migration. So there is another. This I think that already we covered the previous slide as well. So from the 23.4, the classic folder is deprecated, and you need to migrate to the modern folder. Then the backup and the restoration. So you can always take the application level backup and that database level backup. So if possible, you can just take the snapshot of the VM to safer side. So suppose in something happened during the upgrade, and we can easily restore the VM snapshot itself. So other practice, suppose in your orchestrator, you are just adding some HA, high availability add-on. Suppose if the multi-node setup in your organization, you need to consider this that as well. Suppose you are using the HA is a lower version, so you need to simultaneously upgrade the HA as well to upgrade the orchestrator. I hope the slide is get a clear picture about the orchestrator upgrade. If we have any queries, so you can just post on the chat and we can discuss some of the Q&A section. Thank you.
Thanks, Chetan, Krishna, Murli, and Vitri. So if anyone has any question, yeah, maybe they can post it in the chat window or they can unmute one by one. And you can ask if you have any doubts, any queries, or on any of the concepts. If you have any queries, feel free to unmute yourself.
This is Kalai.
Hi,
from
Kalai.
data. So I just need some clarification here. We are planning to migrate the 2022.4.0 version to the 2023.10 version. So I raised the ticket also. I think Chetan and then Krishna's replied for my query. So they said that particular version 2022.4.0 version. So they just asked me to check whether that is particular orchestrator is a classic version or modern version. So I think it is a modern version. So I just need how to check with the modern or classic. So first thing, that particular clarification I need, and then as well as the whatever detail they are provided, whatever prerequisites they shared, I prepared all those details. So, but here that material is mentioned, right? Before we can move that migration to orchestrator migration to our older version to new version, we need to take the SQL data backup as well as the package backup, all those things, right?
Yeah, correct. You are right on that part. Let me cover all the questions that you have. So first, may I share my screen? That will give you this brief this. Okay. So if you see the first question that you have, how you are going to find you are on the classic folder or you are on the modern folder. The basic way is go to the tenant, go to the folders, and then if you hover over this one, you will see it's if you see the name community, that is a folder name, and in the quotes you're seeing this classic folder. And if you're hovering over this other folder, that is the migrated community that we just performed in this session. You see folder name, and then it will give you this modern folder. Or the other way around, you can find if you go to this classic folder, it's going to have the red mark and this orange color, and or you can mention as a red mark, whatever the color you are saying. If you're on the modern folder, it will always going to be the black mark. So the other way around, if you are going into this classic folder, if you click on the classic folder, you will going to be see there is a robot on this tab. If it's going to be the robot on this tab, that means it's a classic folder. And you have that option to create a add robot and those. So you can confirm in that way because these all prerequisites check will give you that you are on the classic folder or on the modern folder. Then on the second question that you have, that Vetrival mentioned that you need to be take an application backup and you need to be take a database backup also. Those two things need to be taken care by your IT team, because suppose if you are performing this upgrade activity and somehow because of n number of different reasons the upgrade got failed, and as we have that capability to automatically back to the previous state, whatever we if the upgrade fail, it will automatically route to the previous state on the schema state. If because of n number of reasons, if it didn't went well and it didn't able to roll back the orchestrator successfully, so at least if we have the DB backup, if we have that orchestrator backup, we have the capability to roll back to the previous original version that you have, so that at least you are not going to lose the data, you are not going to lose anything in your environment. So that's why you always recommend to take the DB backup, take the application backup, so that we have the capability to roll back to the original state of your orchestrator. I think that will answer your queries.
Yeah, Charan. And the one more question I have. So as you mentioned earlier, so if you are in the below 2022.10.0 version, so we need definitely we need to migrate intermediate version, then only we can go for the 2023.10. But I am at 2022.4. So that particular option, that migration option is not available in the 2022.4, right?
If you're on the modern folder, then you don't need to be migrated to the 22.10. You can straightforward migrate to 23.10 or to 24.10 also. The only pre-check is going to become if you're on the classic folders. Okay. Even 3 days back, we released 24.10. If you want to be upgrade, that what we recommend. First upgrade the lower version to 24.10. If you see everything is working fine, then only upgrade to the your production environment. So, Kai, there is one more thing. So suppose if you're on the classic folder in the 22.4 and there you don't have the migration utility. So you first need to upgrade to 22.10. Use the migration compatibility, that utility to migrate your classic to modern folder, how we just perform in this demo session. After that, you can upgrade to either 23.10 and or to 24.10. And the pre-check you need to be do if you're moving from classic to modern, that the system activity version package need to be greater than 20.10 version. Okay.
You can check now here. So there it is just showing, it is not showing any that you mentioned right in the, if I go and click that particular folder, it will show the modern or classic, but it is not showing anything.
So I think in the lower version, it's not showing. If from the 20.10 version, it will be like that. So can you see that there is any orange mark is there? Any one of the folder?
If you're okay, can you share my screen and show?
Sure, you can. Sure.
Can you see it?
So just go to tenant and you see this is looks to be you are on the modern folder one. Okay. Because if you're going, reason being, if you go into the folders, tenants and then folders, click on that one. Click on folders on the top tabs that you have, tenant and then folder. and the folders. So if you go to each and every folder, you are going to see you have the option to create a subfolder, and it's in the some grayish color. So whichever folder it's in the grayish color, it's going to be on the modern folder.
Okay.
Okay.
I think right now we are at a modern folder, I guess.
Yes, you are on the modern. Other way around is to check from the DB. There is a one organization unit table. There is a one predefined column. There, if it is going to be 0, then you are on the classic folder. If it's 1, then you are on the modern folder. You can check from the DB level also using the organization unit table. So we'll respond back to you on the this case. Just ping the case. I think that case is with Krishna. So Krishna will respond back to you on this.
Yeah, Krishna is under. Yeah, I will respond. Thank you so much.
We have the another option. You can just click on tenant and go to the settings.
Okay.
Go to the settings. If you scroll down this page, yeah, you can see the classic folder you not enabled this in this tenant. Suppose by default it is not enabled. Suppose if you enabled, you will see that option to create the classic folder. So whatever the folder you are creating, it should be the modern.
Okay.
So you can say by default we are not recommend our customer to create the classic folder. That's why by default it's unchecked.
Okay.
Because anyhow in future you have to like migrate to modern folder, since 23 onwards it's completely deprecated.
Yes. Thanks.
So yeah, and thanks, Kalai. So anyone else has any questions? Yeah, please feel free to ask. So I guess everyone's concepts are clear on the migrations. Okay. Then we will wrap up this session. Thank you everyone for joining the session. I hope it was useful for you. And thanks to all speakers, Chetan, Krishna, Murli, and Vetri.
Thanks everyone. So the session recording will be sent to you all.
We'll see. Ideally, it will be over the same community post session recording as well. I will see if I can post the PPT as well. And otherwise, I will check the community team Rohit and we'll see how I can deliver it to you guys. Okay. Anyhow, we have your details. So yeah. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, team.